something that, to some extent, that they've chosen an arbitrary age of 18. I mean, yeah, you do need something because folks will get preyed on. They're too young to figure. I mean, I get all of those things. But 2 16-year-olds being labeled sex offenders?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, well,
I mean, someone is violent and rapes someone, but you got to get the right spot. What was the intent here? What's going on? All this sort of stuff. It's not, that zero tolerance stuff. It rarely is. It works out.
Right. No, I couldn't agree more. So, there's kind of this whole thing where it's not really cool for doctors, particularly those of the psychological nature. They're not supposed to have sex with their patients. Yeah. It's kind of frowned upon, like, I don't know, you can lose your license and whatnot. So this is an interesting quandary for a man in Toronto. He worked as a sexual surrogate, but he was also a therapist. And the board of health professions there just couldn't deal with it and said, no, I'm sorry, you can't have accreditation because you conflict, and we can't say that you are both an accredited therapist and a surrogate because that gives you permission, and they can't find a way to make that work if he screws one of his psychological patients. You see what I mean? So he's in an awful sort of a conflict of interest here.
So in other words, he needs to, he's going to have, he needs to separate. He needs to find another psychologist, sexual therapist. And the one he's a psychologist with, he refers to the other thing. So there's not the same, so it's never, but they're saying he has to choose one or another. But I suppose the laws have not caught up with that. And I could see where something like that could easily be misused. And even though someone might be doing it perfectly right and might be there are reasons there are generally rules in this life and protections because folks don't always choose to do the right thing by another person.
Right.
Yeah, most things are not particularly arbitrary. They exist because someone did something asinine.
Right. Well, and it's a long article. You can check it out. We'll post the link for you. They basically, are going back and forth and suggesting something pretty close to what you were just saying, Colleen, but they still just haven't been able to hammer it out. No pun intended. So it's still an awkward situation. I don't know. I think that you have to kind of pick one and be that in his case, and certainly the fact that he has experience at one and the other makes him, benefits, but he can't be, but I get it. I do. Okay. We'll leave you on a flashback study that just came out. Study sees link between porn and sexual dysfunction. So not only will it make you blind, now it's going to make you impotent, according to this one.
Once again, overdoing anything and considering it reality. I mean, you could probably say study shows link between excessive video use and sexual dysfunction. Study shows a link between excessive food eating and sexual dysfunction. Studies, for Pete's sake.
The angle that they took on this one, and they did present this one at the American Urological Association's annual meeting. So it was kind of and this one says, look, if young men that get so into it that they prefer porn to real world sexual encounters, they could find themselves in a trap, unable to perform because they don't have the sexual equivalent of social skills, which is really not that big of a stretch.
No, it's the same thing. If you never talk to another human being, how are you going to relate to them? And it has nothing to do with sex-wise or whether or not they'll actually be able to interview for a job.
Yeah.
Because you need to be able to talk to actual humans.
Right.
That's not going to stop.
So, so anyway, check it out. We've got the links to all of this stuff. So, Colleen, I wanted to ask you, my gosh, we're halfway through May. And really when huge events that Fantasy Gifts is involved in, like Pride, come up, it feels like right around the corner to you guys, I bet. What's going on right now?
Well, this Saturday, we're going to have a booth at the City Pages Beer Fest.
Oh, okay.
So stop by, see us there. We're going to have the prize wheel. So you can, donate. I think it's $1 a spin. And, we have a lot. There's boxes and boxes of stuff we're going to give away, but it's a way we raise money. I think it's going to be for the Minnesota AIDS Project again. But then again, the Beer Fest might have their own charity. So I'm not sure it might go, but if it doesn't go to them, it's going through there. And then we're doing some work at the office, so we're taking care of that Thursday and Friday, and then we just get ready for Pride. This Sunday we've got another seminar, so the stores are gonna. What is it? 20th, 21st, whatever the hell this Sunday is.
Yeah.
The store's going to be opening up late. They're only going to be open from 3 to 5 because we have a seminar.
Oh, yeah. Right. Okay.
So there's that going on.
Yep.
And once we do Pride, and then honestly, after the 4th of July, it becomes a big bachelorette season again, and then we ramp into fall weddings and Christmas. I mean, it's just not a lot has changed in the past 28 years.
Really?
The only thing that's really changed is that Christmas for us, and I've said this before, is not all before Christmas. It's like a whole 6-week period.
Yeah.
Actually, it's just because there were just so many different ways that people celebrate nowadays. It is not just, not everything has to be purchased by December 24th anymore.
I know. Isn't that, it's kind of liberating in a way. Yeah, I kind of like it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just people have so many different family units that, I'm like, that's nice. So it's less stressful.
Yeah. Very cool. So where are you guys going to be set up during Pride again?
We are always on the north side across from the tennis courts.
Okay.
There is a bench and a tree we set up in between. We're usually across from Minnesota Leather and the Naked Guys and Barrels.
Perfect.
So they're all our neighbors.
Okay.
It's always, like I said, I actually won't be there this year. Doing a road trip. And just the way that Minneapolis school system, my daughter's school opened up a little late because of they were doing some work at the school.
Oh, okay.
And so she gets out of school late this year, and we always go on a road trip and heading out east. And if you're going to drive all the way to Portland, Maine, and Boston, you need a little bit more time than a week.
Okay.
So I'm just not going to make it back in time.
Okay.
But we've done it so many times that I know that it'd be just fine.
Oh, funny. Oh, yeah. No, you guys, and everybody that gets involved with that and on your staff really always says it's a riot, even though it just wears them down.
Oh, it's exhausting. We barely function the next week.
Yeah.
We're not in our 20s anymore. Well, like actually a couple of my employees are. And I'm like, I need young people here when we tear down because those old people are. But, the only thing that, even when it's really crappy weather, if we still have a really good time with the folks that make it down there.
It's one of the more fun things to do on a weekend in June in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. It definitely is.
Absolutely. Well, you and I need to wake up, and we will for next week.
Well, go outside and see whether or not Minneapolis is floated away.
I know. Okay, here's to no thunder tonight and a good night's sleep, and we'll be back at you guys next Tuesday.
See you next week.